Hey guys, here I am in my hot new area, and I got a hot, tiny piece of evidence for you. You see the carving, the character on those cuts? See if I can get this focused for you. There we go. Now look, right at this edge here. Look at this edge here. And realize that that wound, or whatever went on there, was in part created. It was carved. It was made. Now, why is that? It's part of their farming techniques. Let's just go with that. I can tell by looking at it that it in no way was trying to hurt the life of the tree. I'm not educated with these guys to know that kind of stuff. So another thing I want you guys to try to realize is what our trees are doing is they're getting a lot of extra weird growth going on in them. We're getting that leaves, the pine needles, whatever kind of tree it is, we're getting more of them coming off of the trunk of the tree, filling in. You see a lot of evergreens where their branches have been groomed really thin. Even the needles have been groomed really thin. And then you're seeing new fresh stuff coming right off of the base. You see that on a lot of the evergreens. Well, heck, there's a spruce of some sort. It might even be showing it a little bit right there. And I honestly hadn't even looked at any other trees other than that spot. I've been kind of just keeping my mind clear here. I'm just trying to break into my space, you know. And I was sitting here realizing that I think there's a lot more tree growth on those mountains than my brother used to brag about, because he loves the desert, absolutely admires it. And that's part of what he admires, is no green. Anyways, you guys are looking at this tree too at the same time, aren't you? Because you know that is their 100% signature. They've turned this tree into being able to be barkless. And if you go and turn around and look at the ground, you see a little bit of remnants. Of course, this has probably been going over for 2, 3, 5 years. Like, their heavy extent could be a lot more implemented, I think, in a way I could see here, if it had just been a normal cycle just going on. Look at these guys, are all stripped, eh? All the bark's peeled off of them. So that's where you get to really recognize these beings, you guys, is just start studying the barks. And you'll start to realize that what I'm pointing out is the bark is their signature. It's their farming technique, and their farming techniques have signatures. And then along with that, there's character of fooling us. Are we supposed to know this? Yeah, we're allowed to know this. Now we have to come up with a lot of ideas of how to deal with it. Look at that example right there, you guys, of those 6 trees. One is with most of its leaves off, but the other one is the other ones are full of leaves. So when you come up close to this, you see those score marks and stuff. Like, look at that really nice straight one right there. You can tell by the way the little frays of bark went along on the slice and stuff. And then ones like that are probably a big etching, or no, I would say that's probably just old wound. And it looks like it could have been sliced, like actually a slice and a slice, to take out like a piece of a V-shaped piece of the bark. So here's an idea where we can decide if we think it's from earlier growth or not. And I say no, because you get to see this bark and stuff, and you can tell the bark was on top of all of that. Get to see some really neat characteristic of inner tree design, like the inner part of it, how a tree grows, you know, with this grain look. That's something that is usually on the inside of a tree. But yeah, these monstrosities are theirs, and that is cool, and we're good with it. Look at that big wound right there, and we're good with it, guys. It's good. It's fine. Everything is going to be all right. But we have to continue our studies, and there's big reasons for that, and I talk about that on my channel. Right now we're just going to walk over to here and look at the leaves. So I think these guys are the hopeful beings in fall, and I think this is a good statement of it. Let's see how easy these are going to be willing to come off. Look at that. Not too easily willing. You see that? Okay, so what I'm saying with this is I believe what can be happening in the fall season, whether it's an assistance or they're fully in control of it, I don't know. Hey, you see the piece of fishing rod in there? They come by and do a little nick, maybe. Go, nick, 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 on a billion of them. As soon as this starts to die, because of that kind of injury, look at, there's still life was feeding these leaves. Still life going to feed these leaves. That's what you're seeing right there. So be amazed with that. Here's the fishing rod I said. Oh, it's fully hidden in there. Somebody maybe uses it still or something. It's a nice little rod. 4-footer. Oh no, there's two parts to it there, I think. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, so you see that? So with that, what I'm just basically saying is they do probably have a part in, sorry about that, I just went blank where I was thinking about a couple of too many things. They do have a part in the fall part of it, is what I believe. That one will be yet to be verified. But I really believe it's going to just be a percentage of how much. If they're 100%, their influences it, or if, you know, something else. You'll notice that your leaf production has really increased in that part of the conversation. And you'll see what you're seeing up here now. Is you're seeing they're leaving the part that was just the stem that the leaves would grow off of. They've left that, and those parts are growing new parts that are going to have leaves. So what you're doing is you're getting a huge multiplication of leaves going on everywhere. Everywhere where they want the leaves to be like that. Everywhere where they're, like, not every country and every product of trees are going to be in the exact same sense of understanding. You got to realize this, that these guys, their ways with them are mood setting, if you will, for the trees. You know, they are creating the trees to have certain moods and certain characteristics, give off certain things. So there's a lot of people who will take down a tree thinking that it really is in a dead state. And no, it might be just turned off for a while and they'll get back to it. And so why I came walking over here is to see well, to explain well, what goes on here is there's a type of sucker branch system, and the sucker branch system comes not from the core system of the knowledge of the true tree. They get rid of all those ones and they turn the tree into the sucker system, growth system, for whatever reason. It grows a lot more aggressively and fast. So now what we're starting to see is we're starting to see peculiar, like, why would a leaf or whatever, what this one was going to be. Now, see, this is the extension of the growth, I think. This now, what did carry a leaf, now will actually turn into a branch that's carrying leaves. This was the one that actually carried the leaves last season. Now what it's doing is it's stemming off ones that will carry the leaves. what you do is when you come in to look at some of these things, and some of these trees are only a couple of years old and such, and you'll see a number of branch systems on them, where like this one here has the tree, there's one branch, it's been damaged there and then refixed and stuff, but it's got another branch coming off there, then it's got other branches coming off of that one, and those ones will catch up to these ones and be stemming off as branches. They're way too early to be stemming out as leaves, and you can see there's a little there's real green life in them, and they're really in the mood of doing something in this cold of temperature. It's cold out here. Go up and look at this tree here. Isn't that beautiful? No matter what they're doing, they still are beautiful beings. I don't know what that is, but I would guess that they might have monkeyed around with it. There might be a night, you might end up, it's kind of a little bit old, but you could have, because it looks like it's been growing since, growing in the wound, but at parts you might have been able to see where the actual cutting tool was used to cut that out. Or maybe it was just a peeled out piece that came out that well. You could, at times you'll see these all nice and fresh, even markings like that. And there's no language behind their markings other than their level of communication. This is what I'm figuring. So there's a nice one where they, like I've said, they come in and cut this side, come in and have cut that side. And then it's older. It's had a season or 2 or 3 of growing and stuff. Whatever's going on. But you don't see much for super fresher. So that's interesting but understandable, because there's not near as much places to hide, to do their work when they do their work. Alrighty. So I just want to let you guys know that everything's cool. I'm just doing what I'm doing. And I really needed a few days of rest when I got up here. I'm making a trip back down to the coast tomorrow. And I'm going to try to head out fairly early tomorrow and see what I see on my mountain range out of here, which is going that way. Oh yeah, on my video the other day there, for anybody who was taking a guess at where maybe I was situated, because at the end of the video I threw that out there. I think I did end up walking by one sign at least, but it just said Asoyas. And somebody said, pardon my memory, but Colorado, I think, somewhere. In Colorado, I believe. And I actually believe we're above there. This desert actually is runs with that system of desert there that you pointed out. So you are the winner. Whatever the winner is, you're just a winner. Like us all. Peace out. By the way, I hear them all the time. They know who's watching. They're across in different places like this, in many colonies, I believe. And anybody that comes walking out at this time of day especially is very entertaining, because nobody's out here, as you can see. It's cold. Lake is frozen. Kid's gone out of me. Hey, I haven't even gone down to that. That's good. I saved my head. I've had my head cracked open a number of times from walking on ice, so not cracked open, but cut open at least. Cracked? I don't know, probably not. Peace out, Tin Man. Where are you guys hiding?